Hi, everybody, and thank you for being here. Deborah Kobylt live today and in studio. Fascinating guest, Tara Doherty. Did I say that right?
Perfect.
Doherty. You wrote the book Growing Up Hollywood. It's a terrific read. I enjoyed it. But what's special about this book? You grew up in Hollywood.
Yes, I grew up in Hollywood in the 1970s.
Right, and you write about Hollywood from that point of view, but
Yes.
also you tell it through the eyes of two young girls, which would be you and your sister, and all the little tidbits and stories about places that we would read about and that you kind of lived through, which is really cool. I mean, I was a kid who grew up in New Jersey, and the thought of Hollywood was like this big deal, and growing up in it was like amazing, and you did it. So that's pretty amazing. But what inspired you to write it?
Oh, I felt that the story of Annie and Gracie needed to be told. So these two little girls who are just kind of bumping through Hollywood, meeting the people, just the everyday people. It is for just the entire story that just they are living life and they are just part of the Hollywood scene. And for little girls, this is really young for them.
But it was just your life, though. You know, when
Yes,
you grow
it
up
was.
here, it is just life. Even though you know that some of the characters that pass through your world are larger than life, right?
Yes, this is true. Yes, but it was just to tell the story because these two girls have such a great presence, and they're on the Boulevard and they're unsupervised, but life is just great and it's wonderful for that time. And in the 1970s, one could still be there, and it was still relatively safe.
But you're telling me life at home wasn't exactly great, right?
No, they were running away from, the arguing. And we see in the stories, have a story where the police come to pick up the father and take him to Hollywood Division.
Because?
Because he was drinking and screaming and hollering outside the house.
Right. So I imagine you'd get out of the house. It was kind of a refuge. I mean, what did you do? You said you went to Hollywood Boulevard. I'm guessing it was what? People watching?
Oh, people watching, and there was all the great places. There was the Piece of Pizza lately. There was the Golden Cup. There was Swenson's ice cream. There were all these places, and then the movie theaters. You could go to a movie for $1, and you could sit there, and you would just escape. And you wouldn't even, the time of day didn't matter. And it was just about being out there and walking on the boulevard and seeing people you knew and having fun and just really escaping from home because a lot of the conflict that was taking place with the parents, the fictionalized parents, real life parents.
So it was you and your sister.
Yes.
And in this book, it is, the two characters are Annie and Gracie.
Annie and Gracie.
And in your home, because your father worked in the industry.
Yes.
People would sort of come to your home who worked in the business who were well known, but to you they were just friends, right?
Yes.
But to the rest of the world was something else. Did you know that there was some kind of magic or mystique growing up there, or to you it was just...
No, it was just every day. It's just the life. You don't really think about it because everybody's parent has a job.
Right.
Yeah, and it was just like...
What did your dad
do?
in the industry?
My dad was a lighting technician. He worked on like Bonanza. I remember being taken to Universal, and they would put makeup on me and ride me around.
Ooh, who'd you meet on Bonanza, too?
On Bonanza, there was the Michael Landon and Haas and Lauren Green. They were all the old guys. They were old to me. I was like,
Of course they were. They were old then, actually, to me at least. But I mean, but they must have loved having you around, this cute little kid, right?
Oh, yeah, but I was a little loud, so...
What kid isn't
quiet
loud?
on the set. I was
Wait,
like,
what kid isn't loud? It's like,
this
they
is
should have
true.
put you in the episode. I mean, what were they doing? Did they ever do that?
No, they did. No, I did model as a child, but that was like, that's because I
Wow.
didn't have to talk.
Yeah.
I just got to walk.
Oh, but that's a lot of fun.
Yes.
So tell me some stories, little tidbits of something, especially from the book. Because these are, again, all right, little vignettes of,
Yes.
A day in the life of
So
these
we
two
have
girls.
snapshots. So
Right, you call them snapshots.
I call them
little
snapshots.
of what you'd
Yeah.
see in a day. I love that.
So one snapshot that we focused on was Musso and Frank. Musso and Frank, we all know, is a famous Hollywood landmark. And so we sit there and we have the tension of where we have the girls when they're sitting there at a table by themselves and the parents are up and they're socializing and they have to make sure that they have the children with them. But the parents are still off and they're enjoying themselves. And so it takes us there. It takes us to the night spot. It reminds us that these girls were almost like an accessory to the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, more to be seen and not heard.
Well, that was my parents' slogan. I thought that was everybody's parents' slogan.
No, mine would just call me a pest. If I was
Oh,
talking
okay.
too loud, they're like, "You're a pest." But I grew up under different circumstances. Sort of, big, loud Italian family, and if you ran in and you were too loud, it's like go, But everybody, it's very different.
Okay, so then we have some others. So one of my favorite ones is Hush Puppies at the Chateau Marmont.
Yeah.
So the Chateau Marmont is, as we all know, is a legendary hotel, and it has a pool that's off to the side.
But to this day, too, I mean, you'll read about, Leonardo DiCaprio hanging out there,
Yes.
and still the parties from the Oscars. People, because I know,
post-
because I've covered that over at the Chateau Marmont. It's very exciting to go there. Very
It
exotic.
is. It is. So when we were kids, there was now as part of Bar Marmont, but when we were kids, that was somebody's studio. It was Norman. It was a friend's. And so that was where, in the heyday, we were introduced to Davy Jones. Now, Davy Jones, for people listening, would be kind of the equivalent. He was from the Monkees, and kind of the equivalent, what would we say, of Justin Bieber, kind of a young star. He was all over
Cute.
the Tiger Beat.
Yeah.
Tiger Beat was that magazine we all loved, although we don't want to own up to it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't. But
Really?
No,
Oh.
I wasn't into stuff like that. I was an athlete as a kid, so I just I was like this. But most of my girlfriends, like they had crushes on half of these people, and I'm like, who? But Hollywood, yes, I was fascinated with the people in Hollywood. You know who I was fascinated with? The Brady Bunch people.
Really?
Because they had such a nice, fun little life where nobody argued, and by the end of the half hour, your problems were solved. And I would think, why can't that be me? So that was my obsession about Hollywood. I've since interviewed them too, which is really kind of cool. So it's come full circle.
That is, yes.
Yeah.
No, we all Brady Bunch. We always wanted something perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, and it looked even more fun with the Partridge Family because they all got to sing together.
Yeah, them I didn't get. They were like weird. Who wants to sing with their mother on a bus? You know what I mean? But that was me. But good for them.
I was happy to have Alice. I would have loved to have a housekeeper.
Alice was just badass, right?
Yeah, I was like, she managed to do it all.
Plus, she would hide everybody's sins. If Marcia came home and she didn't eat what she was supposed to, Alice would just scurry it away. I mean, just iconic. Anyway, so let's get back to the chateau.
So the Chateau Marmont. So we have the scene where we have the sisters, and they're with a friend, and they're sitting there outside by the pool. And on this little vignette, what they have is, the girl, the older sister, is kind of awakening, her sexual awakening, and she actually sees a man laying down, and as he is laying down, he's exposed himself.
Oh.
So yes.
So what did Sister do?
So sister
What
was
did
over
you
there.
do?
What? Yeah. No. So sister was like, what? So that would be when I was like, that's why it's called Hush Puppies at the Chateau Marmont.
Oh, I get it.
But
Hush
yes,
puppies.
he was a tan gentleman.
Did your parents know that you were going to these places, or did they just think you were getting a soda or something? Because you lived right in Hollywood.
Yeah. I decades later, my mother said, I raised you with benign neglect. She goes, I knew you'd come back and make the right decision. I was like, oh, that was a gamble. And she's like, well, you did make the right decisions. I'm like, okay.
And here you are now to,
Yes,
to write
yes.
about it, Mom. It's
Yeah.
That's really funny. So there's another one. This is one of my favorites. When you're talking about J.J. Newberry.
Oh, gosh.
For people who don't know what that is.
A five and dime store. Oh, J.J. Newberry's was phenomenal.
When
Those
did they go out of
stores-
business? They're
I think
five
in
and
the
dimes.
80s. I think in the
80s?
80s?
I don't know about that. I think even later. Maybe
Really?
here, because back east, Newberry's was around for a long time. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, because we
Just,
even
you
had
could
a-
get everything there, right?
could.
Pens, pencils, a hammer, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, and Woolworths too, and J.J. Newberry's. Oh, yes. So in J.J. Newberry's, yes. So
There's a Woolworths. Was it a Woolworths in Beverly Hills?
there was.
Yeah, or maybe Newberry's. I don't remember. When we moved here, I remember seeing something like that. I have to look at my history, but yeah. So it wasn't that long ago.
So on my J.J. Newberry, so we were just sitting. She was sitting there, and you know how we all have to always wait for our parents when they're shopping, and so she was just looking at a couple gentlemen, and
Wait, who was?
The Gracie character, the younger one.
Okay.
So what happens was she was sitting there, walking around, sitting at the bus stop, waiting for her mom and her sister to come out of the store, because we always know it takes parents forever to get out of stores when we're kids. And then she was looking at a couple of men who were dressed identical, and in this little vignette, they kind of snicker at her, "What are you looking at, little girl?" And then that was the first time she kind of felt shame because she hadn't experienced that before. She was like, I'm just looking at everybody. because I love the world and I love to look at everything.
Yeah. What was the biggest star that you ran into as a little kid?
The ones we would see would be like Henry Miller, or we saw John Travolta, but we would see them on motorcycles. They never stopped. It was Davy Jones from the Monkees was the one we were introduced to.
That was your guy.
That was my guy. I mean, we did fun things.
I don't know. It would have been exciting to see John Travolta rolling by.
Yeah, we did. We saw him, and we would trick or treat outside Sonny and Cher. They were together back then. Sonny and Cher's house in Beverly Hills. So we just kind of ran the gamut. We ran with whatever celebrity. But my friend's the boyfriend of my friend's mother, Norman, he was a photographer, so he actually did photographs for celebrities.
What was, how do you think it's changed a lot now for kids being raised out here in Hollywood, whether it's Hollywood, Beverly Hills, West Side, Burbank? How is it different from then?
Oh, I think there's a lot more to worry about now. Mm-hmm. I think back then, we kind of had a sweet innocence in the 70s and 80s, and Hollywood hadn't been gentrified yet as much, and now it's like there's kind of, I have a 14-year-old and she's almost like an 18, like I was at 18. She's more mature. Things have kind of been, told to her. They're all very social media oriented. Back then, we were just outside running on the streets. When I needed money, we'd collect aluminum cans, or we would carol up on Beechwood.
But I mean in Hollywood, growing up in Hollywood now, my kids were raised here, and it is true, they're in school right side by side with somebody's famous kid, and it's true, they don't know the difference. It's like, that's just dad or mom. But do you think it was different then, that they were like kind of larger than life, the stars, if you will?
Well, if anything, I think that they were more accessible and they were more
really?
Down to earth back then.
Oh, wow.
Back then, they were just kind of like, they were out there and they would talk with you and they were accessible. Now, you've got a handler, you've got a PR person, you've got the agent. You really can't, the people are inaccessible.
Wow.
I think now they're kind of just larger than life. Back then, it was kind of working actors.
Did you ever go to the Chinese Man Theater when they were having premieres there? I mean, and they still have them here, obviously, all the time.
We did. When you couldn't see, you tried to look in there. Yeah, oh, that's so exciting. Even when you see people today, even when I watch the Oscars, just because it's so exciting.
It is. It's so glamorous.
It
and
is
it doesn't
so Hollywood.
happen that way anywhere else. Maybe at the film festivals, but still, it originates here, even if it kind of doesn't. To the world, it still does.
It's Hollywood. People are excited.
Yeah, and we talked about that. There's still a mystique. You can go anywhere around the world or country. You could say you're from LA, Hollywood, whatever. They're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Right? That never seems to go away.
No, I think it's always going to... Even I have a fascination when you read about the Hollywood sign and everything that went place. No, I think Hollywood... And that's why, really, the people who love Hollywood are kind of Hollywood files. They just have a focus on it. They have a love of it. Anything Hollywood. And that's
entertainment. It steps us away from our dull lives. You know what I mean? All of us.
So, and that's why we're growing up Hollywood. And it's like a metaphor for like how we all kind of wish we'd grow up.
I love the cover, because is that you and your sister looking up at your mom and dad?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's really a beautiful, beautiful cover that you chose. I liked it very, very much. It sort of gives you a glimpse into, and with the window in the background too, with Hollywood. I really, really like that.
So it's part of I have a trilogy of novels after it, and each one has a different perspective of the Hollywood sign. My cover artist did, so that I would keep with the same theme, because these girls don't go away. We see them grow up.
That's wonderful. So tell me the next one.
So the next one is where the parents' marriage is dissolving here. In the first part of the trilogy, the parents get remarried.
Oh.
Yes. So and then we have the Hollywood, and there's the Hollywood Walk of Fame there in front of the girls, and so we'll see the girls growing up. And then so you'll see the parents. So the parents will get along, and they will have a traditional roles and a traditional happy family as they can, and then it will start to decay again.
Unravel,
yes,
really.
Yes.
What does your sister think about this? Since there's a character based on her.
She just laughs at me.
Oh, I'm just. Is she a writer or no?
No, she's not. She's like, really. Really? That's what, yeah.
It's like, thanks.
Yeah.
Did you make me the nice, cute one? Or,
Exactly.
My sister and I, I'd be like, well, wait, just make me the nice, cute one. You know what I mean?
I was oh, no, make me the funny one. Oh, make me, So yeah, to give pointers.
It's just interesting because there's been lots of different books based on growing up in Hollywood, but I love the angle that you chose, which is based on true stories, but through the eyes of these fictional characters.
Yes.
But basically, it's you and your sister.
Yes, experience it, fictionalized, and to the point where and it is such a great idea. These girls have such an imagination, and it's just, I think that people will really like them.
Well, their eyes are wide open.
Yeah.
You know, whether they're peeking through at a premiere or whatever, their eyes are wide open. And for most people, they like to see Hollywood through their eyes. So that's why this is a great
And the
read,
fact that they're kind of like regular people. The parents, I mean, he works at a studio, and she is a pianist, but they all just kind of, that's, they're regular people. And this is because we can't forget that despite it's Hollywood and the land of make-believe and glamour, but there are regular people who have to live in it to keep the town going.
Everybody. Well, I appreciate you coming in.
Okay.
I really, really do. How people can pick this up on Amazon.
Yes, please.
Right, please. Growing Up Hollywood, Tara Doherty. Now, if people want to talk to you on social, how can they look you up?
Oh, I have a website, www.taradoherty.com. I am
on Insta.
Insta.
I always find people on Instagram more than anything.
Tara Doherty, and I'm on Twitter, and I am on Facebook as Tara Doherty. I'm all out there.
And Amazon, because this is a fun read. It's actually a fun, quick read. So I enjoyed it. I really did. It was just because it was different.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah,
it's
thank
been
you.
a
I enjoyed
delight.
it very much. And please pick up this book, Growing Up Hollywood. It's actually a fun gift, too. I have a friend she's having a shower, and I thought, this would be kind of fun to give to the girls. You know what I mean? So Growing Up Hollywood, please get that. Amazon, real easy to pick up. And thank you for being here. A great glimpse into Hollywood, growing up in Hollywood as a kid. I really enjoyed it. So we will be back next time. You can find Deborah Kobylt live on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, big followers there. And then for those who listen to their podcasts, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and honestly, just anywhere else that you get your podcasts. Thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next time. Bye.